Baby? Are you alright in there? I hope everything's okay. You haven't come out of your room at all. I'm coming in, okay? Hi. Hi. Hi, sleepyhead. Were you sleeping all day? Aww. So cute. Are you feeling any better? Yeah, I thought so. My heart hurts so much to know you're feeling so sick like this. I hate that. Yeah, my dark goth heart is hurting. Do you need anything? Do you need tea? A warm soup, maybe? Extra blankets? Oh, I get it. You're sleepy. So sleepy. Sleepy eepy. You look so cute all wrapped up in those blankets. Oh, but you can't sleep. Oh gosh, damn it. I'm so sorry. I wish I could help somehow, but I don't really know how. I'm not really good at taking care of sick people, you know? I'll stay with you, don't worry. I will. I already did all my super hardcore goth activities. Yes. Pfft. Okay. You might not think painting skulls on my nails isn't a hardcore goth activity, but I assure you, it is. And so is putting on eyeliner. Just stop laughing. It's not even funny. Huh? Oh, right, that's right. I did want to read that book, but being with you is more important. Huh? A bedtime story? Oh, you want me to read you the book that I wanted to read? I'm not sure. You see, that book isn't very appropriate for bedtime stories. It's a scary book. Yeah, it's a book by H.P. Lovecraft. Look, I know you're like tough and stuff, but I don't want you to have nightmares or anything. I'm being serious. Well, okay then. If you think you can handle a story by H.P. Lovecraft, then I suppose I can read it for you. But I doubt you'll fall asleep. Hold on, I have it here somewhere. Let me see. There it is. Okay, let's start. Wait, before we do, are you sure you don't want anything? I think tea would really help you to, fall asleep. Are you sure? Okay. I'm just making sure you're all nice and cozy. You're so cute. Okay, let's start. It was the design of Angelo Ricci and Joe Chunick and Manuel Silva to call on the terrible old man. This old man dwells all alone in a very ancient house on Water Street near the sea, and is reputed to be both exceedingly rich and exceedingly feeble, which forms a situation very attractive to men of the profession of Messrs. Ricci, Chunick, and Silva, for that profession was nothing less dignified than robbery. The inhabitants of Kingsport say and think many things about the terrible old man, which, generally, keep him safe from the attention of gentlemen like Mr. Ricci and his colleagues, despite the almost certain fact that he hides a fortune of indefinite magnitude somewhere about his musty and venerable abode. he is, in truth, a very strange person, believed to have been a captain of East India clipper ships in his day, so old that no one can remember when he was young, and so taciturn that few know his real name. Taciturn? What kind of word is that? Oh, whatever. Among the gnarled trees, in the front yard of his aged and neglected place, he maintains a strange collection of large stones, oddly grouped and painted so that they resemble the idols in some obscure Eastern temple. This collection frightens away most of the small boys who love to taunt the terrible old man about his long white hair and beard, or to break the small painted windows of his dwelling with wicked missiles. But there are other things which frighten the older and more curious folk who sometimes steal up to the house to peer in through the dusty panes. These folk say that on a table in a bare room on the ground floor are many peculiar bottles, in each a small piece of lead, suspended pendulum-wise from a string. And they say that the terrible old man talks to these bottles, addressing them by such names as Jack, Scarface, Long Tom, Spanish Joe, Peters, and Mate Ellis. And that whenever he speaks to a bottle, the little lead pendulum within makes certain definitive vibrations as if in answer. Those who have watched the tall, lean, terrible old man in these peculiar conversations do not watch him for very long, and do not watch again. But Angelo Ricci and Joe Chunnick and Manuel Silva were not of Kingsport blood. They were of that new and heterogeneous alien stock which lies outside the charmed circle of New England's life and traditions. And they saw in the terrible old man merely a tottering, almost helpless graybeard who could not walk without the aid of his knotted cane, and whose thin, weak hands shook pitifully. They were really quite sorry in their way for the lonely, unpopular old fellow, whom everybody shunned, and at whom all the dogs barked singularly. But business is business, and to a robber whose soul is in his profession, there is a lure and a challenge about a very old and very feeble man who has no account at the bank, and who pays for his few necessities at the village store with Spanish gold and silver minted 2 centuries ago. Messrs. Ricci, Chunnick, and Silva selected the night of April 11th for their call. Mr. Ricci and Mr. Silva were to interview the poor old gentleman, whilst Mr. Chunnick waited for them and their presumable metallic burden with a covered motor car in Ship Street, by the gate in the tall rear wall of their host's grounds. Desire to avoid needless explanations in case of unexpected police intrusions prompted these plans for a quiet and unostentatious departure. As prearranged, the 3 adventurers started out separately, in order to prevent any evil-minded suspicions afterward. Messrs. Ricci and Silva met in Water Street by the old man's front gate. Although they did not like the way the moon shone down upon the painted stones through the budding branches of the gnarled trees, they had more important things to think about than mere idle superstition. They feared it might be unpleasant work making the terrible old man loquacious? What a word. Concerning his hoarded gold and silver, for aged sea captains are notably stubborn and perverse. Still, he was very old and very feeble, and there were 2 visitors. Messrs. Ricci and Silva were experienced in the art of making unwilling persons voluble, and the screams of a weak and exceptionally venerable old man can be easily muffled. So, they moved up to the one lighted window and heard the terrible old man talking childishly into his bottles with pendulums. Then they donned masks and knocked politely at the weather-stained oaken door. Waiting seemed very long to Mr. Chunnock, as he fidgeted restlessly in the covered motor car by the terrible old man's back gate in Ship Street. He was more than ordinarily tender-hearted, and he did not like the hideous screams he had heard in the ancient house just after the hour appointed for the deed. Had he not told his colleagues to be as gentle as possible with the pathetic old sea captain? Very nervously he watched that narrow oaken gate in the high and ivy-clad stone wall. Frequently he consulted his watch and wondered at the delay. Had the old man died before revealing where his treasure was hidden, and had a thorough search become necessary? Mr. Chunnock did not like to wait so long in the dark in such a place. Then he sensed a soft tread or tapping on the walk inside the gate. He heard a gentle fumbling at the rusty latch and saw the narrow, heavy door swing inward. And in the pallid glow of the single dim street lamp, he strained his eyes to see what his colleagues had brought out of that sinister house, which loomed so close behind. But when he looked, he did not see what he had expected, for his colleagues were not there at all, but only the terrible old man, leaning quietly on his knotted cane and smiling hideously. Mr. Chunnock had never before noticed the color of the man's eyes, but now he saw that they were yellow. Little things make considerable excitement in little towns, which is the reason the Kingsport people talked all that spring and summer about the 3 unidentifiable bodies, horribly slashed as with many cutlasses, and horribly mangled as by the tread of many cruel boot heels, which the tide washed in. And some people even spoke of things as trivial as the deserted motor car found in Ship Street, or certain especially inhuman cries, probably of a stray animal or migratory bird, heard in the night by wakeful citizens. But in this idle village, gossip the troubled old man took no interest in at all. He was by nature reserved, and when one is aged and feeble, one's reserve is doubly strong. Besides, so ancient a sea captain must have witnessed scores of things much more stirring in the far-off days of his unremembered youth. So, how did you like the book? Oh wow, look at you. To be honest, I actually didn't think you'd fall asleep, but guess I was wrong. Maybe H.P. Lovecraft does make for good bedtime stories. Oh, you look so peaceful and cute. Just makes me want to squish your cheeks and cuddle with you. Yeah, it makes me want to get in bed with you. But I don't want to get sick. Oh, whatever. It's worth it. Cuddling with you is always worth it. It's the best thing ever. I'm coming in. Be careful not to wake you. There we go, my love. I hope you like the story. I love you. Good night, my love. Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to this audio. I always wanted to do an audio like this. A comment actually gave me this idea. I think the username was Crowbitch. They should be on screen right now. But thank you very much to that person for giving me this idea. It was on the one of the Goth Boy audios. I really liked that idea and I wanted to do it. So I did it, even though it's been a bit, even though it took a while. Speaking of taking a while, I'm so sorry for taking so long to make this audio. It's mainly because, well, originally I made this audio in like 3 days and I planned to post it really early, but then I kept listening back to the audio, and I absolutely hated my performance in it. And I wanted to do better, but as luck would have it, I freaking fell ill, and I'm still sick right now, so I'm sorry if I sound congested a little bit. But it's kind of ironic that the audio where I try to comfort a sick person, I'm sick myself in. So yeah, it took a while for me to re-record since I couldn't properly speak, and I really can't either, right now. It's still not gone away, but it's definitely better, and I didn't want to keep you guys waiting, so yeah, I made this. I hope you liked it. I really love H.P. Lovecraft and his books, and just Lovecraftian horror in general. It's always been my vibe. Oh yeah, and thank you everyone so much for 5,000 subscribers. Holy crap, that's so huge, actually. That means so much to me. Thank you everyone. Thank you so much everyone. I have a little special audio planned. Well, it's technically not an audio, but I have a little special video planned for you. For a 5,000 subscriber thank you thing. So look forward to that. It should be close to being finished. And thank you for being there and for listening. And kiss kiss. Thank you. And thank you to Crow Bitch for recommending this idea. You're the GOAT. Bye bye guys.